taking action, taking massive action. That's what we're talking about in this video training. So there are basically 4 degrees of taking action. If you've ever read the book 10X by Grant Cardone, whether you like him, whether you don't like him, doesn't matter. He makes a very great point all about the relationship to our activity in relationship to your success. Now, if you're thinking about becoming a business coach, maybe you've just started a business coach, maybe you've been coaching, but you've plateaued. Doesn't matter. Or maybe you have a business. Maybe you own a business. It's all relative about the word action. But I'm going to use examples today all about coaching. We've got about, around 90 or so coaches around the country, all kinds of different walks of life, different backgrounds and whatnot. So we utilize a complete and total done-for-you system. It's not a franchise, but it's like a franchise where you get all the tools, all the resources. Here's my point. It's really interesting for me as the person who runs the network, who owns the network, who have worked with a bunch of coaches all over the country, how using the exact same tools, the exact same resources, how someone is successful and someone who struggles. And here I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, the main reasons is usually activity levels, okay? Sometimes we're not always doing the right activities. Sometimes we're learning what the activities are. Regardless, it's about action. So here's the 4 degrees that you need to think about. And I want you, as I talk about these, I want you to write them down. I want you to process, and you're going to have a conversation with yourself. Self, where am I here? You got to be really honest with yourself, and I'll explain that in a moment. So degree number 1 is taking no action. Degree number 2 is to retreat. Degree number 3 is to take normal levels of action. And degree number 4 is all about taking massive action. So let me kind of walk through them real quick at a high level, just enough to give you this idea like, hey, maybe I'm not taking enough action. So you have this goal, you have this dream, and I hear it from guys all the time, from individuals, Christian professionals who want to go out on their own. They want to do their own thing. They want to spend more time with family. They want to control their time. They want to control their income. Oh, there's Graham, by the way. He always makes a cameo when we're in the car. And they'll say something like, "Hey, I want to make $30,000 to $40,000 a month." Fine. When we start to talk about what that looks like, you can see the level that the lack of recognition about what kind of activity level is going to be necessary to fulfill making, between $300,000 and $400,000 as a business coach. All right. So let's take a look at no action. We're going to use 2 different examples just for context, because clearly we can use this in any realm. But let's say that 1, you have started that coaching business. Maybe you're 6 to 8 weeks in and nothing's happening. Okay. And I see this happen, by the way, from individuals where, it's not really getting anywhere, whatever. Well, let's talk about what you've been doing. Here's the bottom line. They ain't doing anything. They convinced themselves. We convince ourselves. I convince myself sometimes. You convince yourself sometimes that we're doing things when we're not. What does it look like? Overthinking. We are overthinking the process. Well, when I get to this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to reach out to this person. It's going to go this way. It's going to go that way. We're planning, thinking, talking, and we're just kind of noodling on it. But we're convincing ourselves that that's taking action. It's not. So you got to ask yourself, number 1, in life in general, are you an action taker? Do you seize opportunities? Or do you wait around convincing yourselves you're taking action, but in reality, you simply are not taking action? All right. Degree number 2 is all about retreating. Get my words out. Is retreating. So I've started the business coaching practice. I'm 6 to 8 weeks in. Let's just assume I've got 3 promising prospects. Okay. I feel good about it. It's, 2 of these are low-hanging fruit. 1 was a referral from somebody that I knew, past colleague or whatever. And, hey, bud, what's up? And all of a sudden, in 1 week's time, the 2 of those 3 kind of, 1, let's say that has a life impact that has nothing to do with you. But it is all about the fact that they're going to be gone away for a while, and we can't get back together for months. They just had some issue. You're distracting me, dude. Move back. But it's all about some kind of life impact, and it's like, shoot, I was almost there. There's the other one. That's Miles. They're unsettled, obviously. But the second one just gets real busy, gets overwhelmed, and they kind of ghost you a little bit. In other words, they're not responding to texts, they're not responding to phone calls, and all of a sudden, what was promising, and you were really close to moving these deals that were going to become clients. Now both of them, essentially, it feels like it vanishes. The retreater says, well, this isn't working. This is no use. This doesn't work. No one wants to talk to me. No one wants to hear from me. It's the same attitude, by the way, of those people that are that invest in the stock market that are shocked when we have a huge drop cyclically. We see it. This is not news. They're like, I'm pulling all of my money out of the stock market, and they retreat, and then they don't have a plan and whatever. So you can't do that, but people do it. Ask yourself, am I a retreater, or do I face challenges? Do I face realities head on? Okay. Third degree, taking normal levels of action. All right. We will convince ourselves things like, I'm going to make 30 to 40 grand a month, but I'm going to do what everybody else does and do it normal. No, you're not. It doesn't work that way. If you're going to be above average, which we can get into the conversation of what's average and what's not average, depending upon what a coach is, a consultant is, a fractional coach, all that, because all those things, they're different for many different ways. You must really like what I'm saying. But you can't just assume that you're going to supersede something that you've never done before and just kind of nonchalantly walk into it and like, I'm just going to do it, just normal stuff. Nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary. I'm just going to do status quo, because that's what normal is. Status quo, average. I'm going to do what the average people are going to do. I'm going to do what the those that just kind of barely show up are going to do, right? Ask yourself, when it comes to activity, when it comes to action, am I just doing normal? And by the way, believability is the key here. You have to truly get honest with you to determine, as I look back and what I've been doing, it really is just average. It really is just normal. It's also called mundane. It's also called mediocre. And think about it. Why would you be above average? Why would you, if you've never made 40 grand a month in your life, why do you think that you're just going to do normal stuff and get there, right? Then the fourth degree, and this is where I want to press into you, is all about taking massive action. And by the way, you're built to take massive action. Now you may ask, well, what does massive action even mean? Let me give you a couple of things to think about. One, God wired us. Us does not end with a T. God wired us to be active. How do we know this? Think about it when you're a child. All the things that you did. We live in a neighborhood, we live on a cul-de-sac, and there's other homes obviously in the cul-de-sac, and we have older kids, and they are two of them are in their 20s, and the rest of them have small kids, and they are in the cul-de-sac, especially during spring, summer, fall, all day long. It's awesome. We love it. We interact with them a lot. We play basketball, we play football, we do all kinds of things. Sun up to sun down. On the weekends, especially here, coming up on the summer, no doubt, all day long, from the time the birds start chirping till the sun is gone. Those kids are active. They are active. They're active. Why? Because it's natural. We're born to be active. But what happens, whether you like it or not, and I'm not trying to get into a diatribe of some of the psychology that happens in our world today, we start going to school, we go to college, we get a job, and throughout all those seasons, 20 years worth of seasons, we're told to do things a certain way. Sit up, be still, sit straight, fall in line, all these different things. And man, over years of time, that just shapes us to kind of start walking like everybody else, right? But we're actually built to be super active. And taking massive action is not about just being crazy and working 25 hours a day. You get my point, right? Being facetious. That's not what that really means. It really actually means just doing more and doing more of the right things. Well, BJ, I don't know what the right things are. Guess what? Here's a little hack for you. All of your actions, when you don't know what they need to be, I'm testing to see if this is the right action. We do this in marketing all the time. We don't know. We don't know if ads are going to work. We don't know if messages are going to work. We don't know if headlines and subject lines. We have formulas. We have templates, but we don't really know. And so when we want to try something new, we don't go into it going, hey, this is going to work. It's like, no, we're going to test to see what the response is with this. So if you've never walked into a business and just walked up and shook their hand, the business owner or somebody there, and you've never done it before, don't lay context to it that goes, it works or it doesn't work. Say, you know what, I'm going to try this and test to see what happens, right? If you've never picked up the phone a certain way and call people, I'm going to test to see what this happens. Here's the point. Wherever you are today, I want to encourage you to increase your activity level. If you're coming into building a coaching practice, come into it going, I am going to just absolutely take ridiculous amount of actions. Here's the cool thing. You'll determine that some of these actions aren't necessary. They don't provide value. They didn't do anything. That's what taking massive action does. It leads you. Here's the number one key I want to leave you with. It leads you to the reality of the actions that are necessary to actually take. But if you're doing normalcy, if you're retreating, and certainly if you're not taking any action at all, you'll never figure out what actions should I actually be taking. You want to throw it all at it. And you know what? You kind of want to feel, to some degree, not overwhelmed. You want to feel excited. You want to feel invigorated. And you can do that by a significant amount of activity level that leads to opportunity. Okay? So, and it's never over. It's never done. I get people to ask me all the time, man, dude, you put out content like every day, all the time. You must be working around the clock. No, just figured out a formula, a process through taking a lot of different actions over a period of a couple of years consistently to figure out a formula. We can do this with very little effort anymore, and to do it well and to do it right. I say well, in other words, we are communicating and connecting. I get feedback all the time about the content we put out, and we're building, we're growing, we're going to do more of it. And I want to encourage you to do the same. We never take the foot off the gas. It's not about being crazy and pulling our hair out and being overwhelmed, obsessed. If you're doing that, I'm telling you, I have done this numerous times. I've sat down with people who said that they're overwhelmed. Let's walk through your day, and we can't even find 6-8 hours of effort. Not joking. All the time. Sure, there's some outliers out there, so don't throw tomatoes at me if you truly are in a season. That does happen. But I want to encourage you and implore upon you, if you got space in your day of boredom, you're nowhere close to be able to increase your activity load. You got to work through it, take it a step at a time, do a little bit more, figure out what's working, get rid of what's not working, add the ones that are working. Eventually, all of your massive actions are all the right things. Okay. Hope that adds value to you. I hope that means something to you. He's yawning. I think he's done and he's ready to go eat. So I'll leave it there. Take care.